Lord, we love you. Help us tonight to focus on you, to understand that you have meaning in this life for us. You have a plan in this life for us. Lord, give us a desire to look for it. Give us a desire to know what it is and to figure it out and to follow you in all ways. Even the ways that seem like you might be wrong. Even the ways that seem like your way is less fun, Lord, help us to have an intense desire to follow you anyways. To stick to your path, just knowing that you're wiser than us, even if we don't see what your wisdom is. Lord, if it's our prayer, please reveal it to us. Show us why your wisdom is wiser. Show us why your plan is better. We ask that tonight in your name. Amen. All right, have a seat. Tonight, we are talking about dating. And if you didn't know that, I'm sorry. We put out a calendar. We sent emails to parents. We put it up on the door out there, so it literally just had a color-coded calendar on the door. We tried to let you guys know what the topics are. Yeah, Giovanni. Oh yeah, if you guys don't have your cell phone in the bucket, stick it in the bucket. Stays there till the end of tonight, and then you can get a prize if your cell phone's the first one out of the bucket. All right, so last one out of the bucket. Last one. What did I say? I meant last. I'm sorry. Good catch. So, does anybody here have an idea? Whoa. Don't kill Ezra. I like him.
Hey, he sat back in the chair and it went backwards.
Well, it does that. It does that. So here's the deal, guys. I know not all you guys are already dating, but some of you guys are. Some of you guys are already dating. And so some of you guys who aren't dating yet, you're thinking like, Daniel, why are we talking about dating? Some of you guys are just like, this is the stupid, most awkward conversation I'm ever going to have in my entire life. Trust me, it's not. 2 weeks from now, we're doing sex topic night.
Oh, yeah.
So if you think tonight is awkward, my apologies. You're wrong. 2 weeks from now, it'll be a little more awkward. Talking about dating. Some of you guys are just like, this is the stupid, most awkward conversation I'm ever going to have in my entire life. Trust me, it's not. 2 weeks from now, we're doing sex topic night.
Oh, yeah.
So if you think tonight is awkward, my apologies. You're wrong. 2 weeks from now, it'll be a little more awkward. But trust me, we do our very best. Shh. If you guys are all talking when I'm talking, you can't hear anything I'm saying. So why am I talking? I don't know. Trust me when I say we do our very best to make this not awkward. We really do. We try absolutely our very best. The reason we have these topic nights, this week we're talking about dating. Next week we're talking about marriage. The week after that we're talking about sex. And the reason why we have these topic nights is because you're going to learn about dating and marriage and sex no matter what. You're going to learn about that stuff no matter what. The question is, who are you going to learn about it from? Are you going to learn about it from God, or are you going to learn about it from people, the world, friends, people at school, some instructor in a class? Where and when are you going to learn about it? Our preference is you guys learn about it from God. God created relationships between men and women. God created marriage. God created sex. It's a wild thought, people, but he invented all these things. These are his inventions. Now, just my 2 cents, but if you go to try and build your own airplane back in the early days and you don't go talk to the Wright brothers, you're fixing for a crash. I tell you what, man, you're fixing for a crash. If you go try and build an airplane right now and you don't go talk to someone from Boeing, you don't go talk to someone from Airbus, you don't go talk to someone from Lockheed Martin, you don't go talk to someone who knows how to make an airplane, you are starting over from scratch and you are going to crash and burn far too many times. You're going to die far too many times before you ever get a working airplane. So, if you want to try and figure out dating on your own, you may get there eventually, but you'll have damaged yourself so many times before you got to the good result. If you try marriage without God, you might figure it out eventually, but you might be on your 5th divorce by the time you figure it out, okay? So, same with sex. If you start with God, you see what he says first, and then you go into those things. Dating, marriage, sex. You move into those after you hear what God has to say, you will do so much better. You follow what he told you, you'll be fine. But if you never figure out what he said on this stuff, you'll crash and burn. Yeah, Ezra.
Is there a reason you're teaching us about yourself in the city?
I don't know, Ezra. Why do you think I'm talking about dating first, and then marriage second, and then sex last? Okay. You don't want to lead it any further than that? That's fine. So, does anybody notice that it's in that particular order? Dating, then marriage, then sex? Like, now I do. Thank you, Ezra. Thank you, Ezra. So here's the deal. If you get it out of that order, you're going to have problems too. You're going to have problems too. So this is why we stick in that order. We want to show you guys, God doesn't say no to sex. God doesn't say you can't have sex. God doesn't say no to dating. You can't date. Okay, but he puts it in a specific order. He shows you how to walk through it. He has a plan in this. And you can break from that plan. A lot of people do, and the sad truth is they get hurt in the process. So God doesn't have this plan to say, oh, you can't do that. That's too much fun. You're not allowed to have fun. That's not how God works. He says, I don't want you to get hurt. I have this plan for you so you don't get hurt. So before we go any further, we're going to split up into two groups. First we'll watch a video, then we'll split up. Girls will go with Emily. Guys will stay here. And yeah, then we'll get down to actually talking about our topic. So, all right, Emily's got the lights. Here goes video number 1. If it's going to play nice. Probably not. I will go double click on things. I don't know why. It doesn't like switching between media types. If I go between videos, it's fine. If I go between songs, it's fine. As soon as you go from a song to a video, it's like, what? That brain is a fart. What?
Who am I? Am I what I do? An artist? An accountant? A teacher? A mother? Or am I what I've achieved? An honor student? An MVP? A winner? Am I the things I've done right? Or am I defined by the things I've done wrong? Am I a saint? A sinner? What about what others think of me? Am I all of these things? None of these things? Who am I? How I identify myself determines how I approach life. If I am what I do, I'll always need to do more and achieve more to find my value. If I am what others say, I'll always try to please people instead of my Heavenly Father. But if I listen to who God says I am and embrace His identity in me, I'll find the freedom to live out all He has planned for me. God calls me His child. He says I am wise and restored, that I'm a brand new creation in Christ. I am chosen and holy and blameless before God. He calls me His masterpiece. I am loved by God. He says I am made complete through the grace and mercy of Jesus, my Savior. And when I see myself the way God sees me, I walk with confidence because I trust the one who answers the question, who am I?
So if you guys are wondering what that has to do with dating, good. Things you're thinking and building. But I'm not going to tell you yet. We're going to split the groups first. So, ladies, you're with Emily. Is that right, Emily? Okay, we're going to send away the smaller group, whichever one that was. In the big group here. So, ladies, there's sheets over here. Okay, Emily got sheets. You're all set then. There is a room waiting for you, ladies. Guys, you each need one of these sheets. And eventually you'll need a pencil. Feel free to grab that now or later. There's a cup full of pencils. And do you have pencils? There's two boys who literally just went to them. Why? Did you let it happen?
No, they're getting water.
They wanted to leave at the same
Oh. Guys, you want to do some?
Here you go, Andrew.
Guys, did you get stuff right? Okay. And so cold, bro. So cold. I can't do that. Andrew, Ezra, you
Oh,
guys
that
Daniel, me and Ethan still need one. We went to go get one.
You might need a pencil for the end.
Where do I get a pencil?
There's a pencil cup over here, dude. Alright, has everybody got one? Oh, sorry. Anybody else missing? Missing a paper? Anybody? No? Okay. Dude, you don't have to read it. This is take home material. If we don't get to everything, if you're a better reader than you are a listener, you're welcome to just read ahead and check out. This is self-sufficient. You can literally just read everything on this paper and skip the whole talk. If you're embarrassed, you don't want to communicate with us, you don't want to interact, that's cool. You can just tune out and read. Don't tune out and do nothing. That's not an option. Tune out and read, I'm cool. Tune out and do nothing, you lose. All right, so guys, before we get going any further, we have a secret video the girls don't get to watch. It's just for your eyes only. It's because you're men. Manly men.
Testosterone. Except that one right there. Zach is not recording. He is a girl's basketball. That's not
Alright guys, time for your manly video. Ready? Here we go. What? That's a Wi-Fi access point.
I thought it was carbon monoxide.
No, it's a carbon monoxide producer. It just injects it into to make people sleepier so they pass out while teaching.
No way.
No!
That goes hand in hand with your teaching style of being long and boring.
It perfectly complements it. Perfect. That way I can dupe people into thinking I'm long and boring. Alright, here we go.
Why is this face so bright?
You are strong. You are brave. You are capable. You are part of the Lord's most valuable creation. You have ability. You have potential. You have gifts given to you by the Lord. You have talents to share with the world. You are a writer, an athlete, an inventor, an artist, a musician, a technician, and these talents will change people. You have joy to spread. You have jokes to tell, kind words to give, and wisdom to bestow. And that joy will change people. You are full of. You have joy to spread. You have jokes to tell, kind words to give, and wisdom to bestow. And that joy will change people. You are full of more amazing qualities, traits, and virtues than you could ever imagine, given to you by the Lord, who loves you, who loves you, who loves you no matter who you are, whether you're the big man on campus or the small guy in the back of the line. Whether you like swinging baseball bats or you like swing dancing, whether you're the fastest or the slowest, the tallest or the shortest, the skinniest or you could lose a few pounds, whether you're captain of the team or last one picked, whether your dad could beat up his dad or you never had anyone in your life who could fill that role, whether you're the champion of champions or you feel like the loser of losers, regardless of who you may think you are, the reality is that you have a responsibility. Because you have a power inside of you. A power that was formed before the beginning of time in a secret place by the God of the universe. There is a man inside of you. Inside of each and every one of you that is waiting to burst forth and change the world. A man that loves, encourages, comforts, shares, teaches, laughs, cries, and who builds up those around him. That man is where your strength lies. That man is where your potential lies. And that man is where your gifts, talent, courage, ability, and joy lies. And your responsibility as a son of God is to find that man and to set that man free. And when he is set free, he will bring change to our broken world. You will bring change to our broken world. And any voices in your head that are trying to tell you differently are from the enemy. And the next time you hear them, this is what you say. You say, nuh-uh, not me, Satan. I am a son of the living God, treasured, entrusted, and loved above all things by the creator of all things, for the glory of him who is greater than all things. I am awesome, and don't you forget it. This is who you are.
You see the girl one?
No, I deleted it.
Just do it, speak again. All about that.
You just deleted it.
No, I deleted the girl's one off the computer. You can't see the girl. Alright guys, flip over to page 1 on your seats.
Okay. Dating. What is it all about? Why do we date?
Alright guys, open it up to page 2. Got some Bible verses on there.
What if I can't read?
Ethan, did you find one of these? You got it? Okay.
I can only read five. I didn't.
Alright guys, here's what you want to do. Okay, cool. Hurry back. Look down the Bible verse list. Look down the Bible verse list. Find me one you like. When you find one you like, raise your hands. You can read it out to the group. Don't be a wimp. Don't just sit there and think like, oh, I don't want to read it. That's dumb.
Timothy.
You want to read the Timothy one? Go for it.
Sure. Don't let anyone make fun of you just because you are young. Set an example for other followers by what you say and do, as well as by your love, faith, and purity.
Nice. Thanks, man. Alright guys, find another one you like. You got one? Go. Which one?
1 Peter 4:8. Most important of all, you must sincerely love each other because love wipes away many sins.
Nice. Nice. Alright, someone else. Okay, cool.
Proverbs 16:3. Commit your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed.
Nice. What you got?
Jeremiah 29:11. I will bless you with a future filled with hope, a future of success, not of suffering.
Awesome. Anybody else? Which one?
Proverbs 15:22. Without good advice, everything goes wrong. It takes careful planning for things to go right.
So true. So true. Anybody else? Ezra.
My favorite one is Matthew. Like, that's actually my favorite verse.
The Matthew 6 one? Go for it.
Can worry make you live longer? Why worry about clothes? Look how the wildflowers grow. They don't work hard to make their clothes. But I tell you that Solomon with all his wealth wasn't as well clothed as one of them. God gives such beauty to everything that grows in the fields, even though it is here today and thrown into a fire tomorrow. He will surely do even more for you. Why do you have such little faith? Don't worry and ask yourselves, will we have anything to eat? Will we have anything to drink? Will we have any clothes to wear? Only people who don't know God are always worrying about such things. Your Father in heaven knows that you need all of these things. But more than anything else, put God's work first and do what he wants. Then the other things will be yours as well. Don't worry about tomorrow. It will take care of itself. You have enough to worry about today.
I love that verse because Jesus is the one who said it, and he lived it. So many times when people give good advice like that, not in the Bible, but like so many times in life, people give good advice like that, they don't actually follow it. Like, nah, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. But people who say that sometimes, they don't do it. But Jesus, he really did this. He really did it. Yeah, Joey, you got one?
Oh, I have a question.
Sure.
Cause like that one was talking about like you don't want to worry about like what's to come in the future.
For sure.
Then where is it?
You find something that doesn't kind of gel with it?
Well, it kind of contradicts because it says like about careful planning will like lead to things going right.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So here's the question though. If I am told to carefully plan and I am told not to worry, is that a contradiction? That's the question. No, see, it's just a balance, what it is. It's a balance. Because if you don't carefully plan and you don't worry, you follow one but not the other. If you worry and you do carefully plan, again, you follow one and not the other. You're supposed to try and follow both at once, and it is hard. But the point is, you make your plans in light of God's will, and then you trust that he's going to make it happen. You don't worry. If you make your plans apart from his will, you should worry, because they're not going to work. That's just the way it works. So, yeah, but it is a balance. You're totally right. Yeah.
Well, from like when it says like why worry, it like is explaining like how you don't have to worry, but then in the last part it says you have enough to worry about.
Yeah. What he means is you have enough to worry about today. Today. You have enough on your to-do list today. You You have enough to figure out for how you're supposed to get all the stuff you're supposed to do done today. He's saying you have enough to worry about right now with just doing things. And that's not really real worry, but what he's saying is like, if you don't give any thought to today, you're not going to get anything done today. So put all of your thought, all of your effort, all of what you've got, all your strength, all of your work into today. Get today done, and when the day's over, rest. Turn off, shut down, quit, take some real time with family, take some real time to just chill. And when tomorrow starts up, you can start working that day. You can start planning that day. You can start, making that day happen. But you don't need to make tomorrow happen today, because then what happens is you don't get today done. It's just the facts. All right, so one more verse. Someone read me out one of their favorites. What do you got, Andrew?
When you eat or drink or do anything else, always do it to honor God.
Nice. Okay, so now this is the challenge. Yes?
Sorry, before you go into that, I was reading Song of Solomon.
Okay.
And
the whole book, or is there a verse on here?
no, the verse here.
The verse here,
Thou
2:7.
woman of Jerusalem, promise me by the power of deer and gazelles never to awaken love before thee ready.
Yeah.
I get the concept, but where does the
deer and the gazelles come in?
come from?
Yeah, okay. So we'll go into more of this when we do Song of Solomon. If you guys don't know, on Sundays we've been tackling a book at a time. Start at the beginning of the Bible, and we're just moving our way forward. And no joke, this Sunday is Song of Solomon. So does anybody know what Song of Solomon's about? What it is loosely, Andy?
Love story, right?
It's a love story, and it's highly poetic. So generally, everything in it has some sort of correlation. Where they're talking about this one thing in the poem, but that doesn't mean that. It means something else. So when he's talking about deer and gazelles in the poems, what he talks about is the passion of love, the thing that makes you want to move quickly. So he's talking about how in love, there's different parts of love, there's different sides of love, different qualities of love. And when he talks about the deer and the gazelles, he's talking about the part of love that makes you want to rush forward. When you have a crush on someone, but they don't know you have the crush, you don't have deers and gazelles yet, because they don't know. You kind of hold back, you're going slow, you're not even sure if you can tell them. But once they know, and they say they like you too, then suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, the deers and the gazelles, ah! You just want to rush. You want to go so fast with the love stuff. And so he's like, by the power of deers and gazelles, please don't rush. So that was written by a dude, and he's talking to all the young women of Jerusalem in that verse. So he's saying, all you young ladies out there, I know that when you find a man and you two love each other, you happen today. Because then what happens is you don't get today done. It's just the facts. All right, so one more verse. Someone read me out one of their favorites. What do you got, Andrew?
When you eat or drink or do anything else, always do it to honor God.
Nice. Okay, so now this is the challenge. Yes?
Sorry, before you go into that, I was reading Song of Solomon.
Okay.
And
the whole book, or is there a verse on here?
no, the verse here.
The verse here,
Thou
2:7.
woman of Jerusalem, promise me by the power of deer and gazelles never to awaken love before thee ready.
Yeah.
I get the concept, but where does the
deer and the gazelles come in?
come from?
Yeah, okay. So we'll go into more of this when we do Song of Solomon. If you guys don't know, on Sundays we've been tackling a book at a time. Start at the beginning of the Bible, and we're just moving our way forward. And no joke, this Sunday is Song of Solomon. So does anybody know what Song of Solomon's about? What it is loosely, Andy?
Love story, right?
It's a love story, and it's highly poetic. So generally, everything in it has some sort of correlation. Where they're talking about this one thing in the poem, but that doesn't mean that. It means something else. So when he's talking about deer and gazelles in the poems, what he talks about is the passion of love, the thing that makes you want to move quickly. So he's talking about how in love, there's different parts of love, there's different sides of love, different qualities of love. And when he talks about the deer and the gazelles, he's talking about the part of love that makes you want to rush forward. When you have a crush on someone, but they don't know you have the crush, you don't have deers and gazelles yet, because they don't know. You kind of hold back, you're going slow, you're not even sure if you can tell them. But once they know, and they say they like you too, then suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, the deers and the gazelles, ah! You just want to rush. You want to go so fast with the love stuff. And so he's like, by the power of deers and gazelles, please don't rush. So that was written by a dude, and he's talking to all the young women of Jerusalem in that verse. So he's saying, all you young ladies out there, I know that when you find a man and you two love each other, you just want to go fast. You want to rush. You want to get to the finish line. You want to get married like that. And he's like, just take it slow. don't rush. Don't rush. So, but yeah, it's good to look at verses like that and ask questions, because if you guys read a verse and it's like, by the power of tears and consults, and you're like, what the heck? Please ask. Please don't stay tight-lipped. We want your questions. We really do. All right, so with all these verses in mind, and even the ones we didn't read, you might have read in your head or whatever, we got to apply this wisdom that God's giving us from His Word now to dating. There's more about dating in the Bible than just this, but I didn't want to give you like 5 pages of verses. I wanted to give you something you could actually tackle. So we picked our favorites. The ones that best apply to you guys, the ones that best apply to dating. Here's a fun fact for you. There wasn't dating back in the Bible times. They didn't have dating. There was sometimes courtship, but it was highly cultural, and the Bible covers thousands of years. So even within the Bible, the way people went from not married to married, that in-between zone, actually changed culturally throughout the Bible as time progressed. Because the Bible covers from creation around like 4,000 years BC, around 4004 BC, up until just about 70 to 80, maybe 90 AD, depending on the estimate. So what we're talking about is like 4,000 years. So over the course of 4,000 years, dating changed. It was not the same throughout the whole 4,000 years, okay? 4,000 years of history is a long time. Yeah?
But you know when, like how modern day dating
Came to exist?
Yeah.
Yeah, so modern day dating came to exist largely due to the feminist movement. Basically, prior to the feminist movement, dating was kind of heavily stuck with the ideas of back in those days of courtship and parents are always involved 100%. As soon as feminism came along, it basically said that men and women have the exact same roles all of the time. There's never any difference in roles. Once that happens, then suddenly the construct of courtship, where the men have a certain job in the dating relationship, the women have a different job in the dating relationship, and there was an actual definition for dating where you said this is how dating works, that all just kind of flew out the window. Because if you say the men and the women have the same jobs and their jobs started out as being different, then you just start chucking anything you don't like until they have the same job left over. And that meant everything. They just chucked all their jobs until there was no definition for dating. Dating was whatever you felt like. And that's where we're at today. It was a slow process. It didn't happen all at once. Not like, feminism, suddenly dating is reset to blank. But slowly but surely, yeah. Since the movement of feminism, suddenly we have a blank reset on dating. So dating is now just whatever you feel like. There's no rules. That's the cultural idea behind dating. But that said, God's idea of dating, it doesn't match with today's culture. It didn't match with culture 100 years ago, or 500 years ago, or 1,000 years ago. God's idea on dating almost never matched up with culture. And you can even see it in the Bible. There are times in the Bible where the Bible's being honest, and the Bible tells you this is what happened. But the Bible never stops and says, and God said it was good. A lot of times people treated, in the Bible even, they treated marriage wrong. They treated courtship and dating wrong. And the Bible doesn't say, wrong is right, right is wrong. It just says, this is what happened, guys. Here's the deal. This is what happened. A lot of people don't want to listen to the Bible on dating because they see bad examples in the Bible, and the Bible doesn't flat out say, and this was a terrible idea and no one should ever do that again. And so they don't see the Bible condemning the bad behavior. They assume the Bible likes bad behavior. And it's like, that's not true. That's so not true. There's lots of time in the Bible where, hey, Joey, he's trying, man. Just
No, he's not.
He's not trying? Okay, Ethan.
Ethan, go
Oh,
around.
see, you see.
What?
Ethan, go around.
Ethan's a liar.
All right, I'll go around if you want.
Ethan's a liar. All right, so let's start the conversation over, guys. Let's start over. Why do people date? You don't have to give me why do you want to date. You have to give me why do people date? What's the reasons they got?
To find their superior other half.
Superior other half?
I don't know.
No, that's great. That's great. Do you know what superior means?
No. Like high above.
Better than me.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm just making sure it's what you meant.
Because you're supposed to put your other half first.
Dude, I like this guy. You're new, but I like you.
Savage.
Sorry, what's your real name? I gotta know.
Jacob.
Jacob. Okay, cool. I can't just keep
Sorry,
calling you
I
like
don't know.
underscore that one white guy or something like.
No, I-
Not forever. I can't do that forever.
But
Sorry,
I
keep
think
going.
We date to find the person we were meant to be with, and so without making mistakes of it, because marriage is supposed to be forever, and so you don't want to spend forever with someone
That's a bad
not
idea.
meant to spend forever with you.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Ezra, what you got?
Because she's pretty.
Dude, it's true. A lot of people date because she's pretty. Don't, for serious, Andy. Like, okay, I understand that can be a little crass. For some people in here, that might even be a bad word. But be real. That is why some people date. They look at the girl's body and they're like, I like what I see. I want to date her. And honestly, the sad truth is, in that situation, it's not even about marriage. It's not about marriage. It's not about finding the person I want to be with the rest of my life. It's like, I want to find the person I can use so that I get to have fun.
To waste time.
To waste time with, to like, a lot of times people date so they can get something from the other person. It's about finding someone that has what you want. That's what a lot of people do. And it's sick because think about this. The way we got to the way dating is right now is by people saying men and women are equal, which sounds like an ACE's fantastic idea, okay? That's how we got to where we are, and what it got us is men using, abusing, and trashing women. That's how we started. We started with equality. We ended up with you're an object. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. At some point, someone should realize where we started did not get us where we were trying to go. At some point, no one put the brakes on though, and dating is still spinning out of control. I put a question on the board, what is a date? And most of you guys put a joke answer on there, but here's the deal. I've been watching videos all day today about people walking over all over college campuses asking, doing like polls for college students. When you ask them what dating is, they have the stupidest, most brainless answers you have ever heard, okay? Most of them do not know what a date even is.
Looks like a dried fruit. That's terrible.
Okay, so some of them are like literally, like pizza and Netflix. Like that's a date. That's a date. Netflix and chill. That's a date. Some are like, well, we might need to study, and so we'll just like go study together, and like that's a date.
That's a study date.
Sure, but it ain't. But like that's their definition of a date. Like
a date date?
no, and then some of them are like, oh, dating is so old school. I just want someone to text with. I don't actually need to see them. I don't actually need to hang out with them. I just want to text them. That's good. So for me, dating is kind of like not what I want. I don't really want to date. I just want someone to text.
I want someone to
This is my favorite, guys. This is my favorite. Like when asked like further to get some more details out of them, do they have to be in an exclusive relationship with you? Do they have to have only you as their boyfriend? Most of them answered no. Like they could have 5 boyfriends, they could have 9 boyfriends. It wouldn't really bother me. Like
What is
what? No. So I gotta tell you guys.
Yeah, how do you have
by the time you get to college, the average for dating might be lower than it is now. It might be worse. My honest prayer is that people at some point before you get to college will hit a rock bottom where they're like, wow, this is really stupid. And they decide to fix the system. And they decide to like protest that style of dating where dating is just like garbage, whatever I feel like ideas. And they bring it up a notch. My prayer is that by the time you get to college, that is what dating becomes. But guys, be ready. It might not. It might go lower than I thought the bottom was. It might go below the rock bottom and start drilling down to the center of the earth. Just like drilling down to the molten core. Oh man, it's gonna be bad. Okay, so this is the question. Why does the world date? All these different bad answers. I gotta give it to you straight. Why should you date? Give it to you straight. Why should you date? So that you can be married. So the person you should be married to. The reason why you should date is so you can be married to the person you should be married to. And I know that's hard for some of you guys and easy for others. Some of you guys are like, duh, I already knew that. Other you guys are like, yeah, I'll nod my head and listen tonight, but I'm not on board with that. And that's okay. If you don't believe me, that's fine. But I'm telling you guys this for a very specific reason. I have watched people listen on dating night, because we do this every single year. Every year. And they sit there and they nod their heads, and then we find out throughout the rest of the year they didn't listen. They didn't want to. They went and got a boyfriend. They went and got a girlfriend. And by next year, I kid you not, there's one girl in particular, you might know her, so I'm not going to say her name. She, 7th grade year, dating night, she was here. She's nodding her head, yeah, okay, that sounds great. Throughout the rest of the year, we know her, we see her, we know her parents, we're talking. She has like 4 boyfriends. She breaks up with all of them. The 4th one, she breaks up 3 times. She's dating him 4 separate times. Just heartache after heartache after heartache. She comes back for dating night 8th grade. You know what? She was preaching it. She was preaching it. She's like, you guys gotta listen to this. Because if you don't, it will wreck you. If you don't listen to this, it will rip your heart out of your chest. You will be so broken. You will be crying. It is the worst thing you will go through in junior high if you don't listen to this. I was like, preach it, sister. You know it now, but this is the sad part. How did she learn it? Did she learn it from listening to this?
Nope.
No.
She learned it because it hurts. It hurts. So here's some fun facts about dating, okay? Dating is not the way to fulfill your needs. Okay, you all have these 3 needs, and every human being on this planet has these 3 needs. So listen up, okay? The ladies down in the other room, they have these 3 needs. We all do. This is not just some, psychiatrist made up stuff. This is legit. This is from God. You all have these 3 needs, okay? You need intimacy. If you're wondering where this is, the bold words down about here on your page. You want to follow along, see the definitions for these words. They're right around here on page 3, okay? You need intimacy. You need support. You need fellowship. Okay? Intimacy, that's closeness, and that's belonging. Feeling like you fit in. Can anybody here give me an amen to I sometimes feel like I need to fit in? You guys feel like you need to fit in? Okay, so here's the deal. Some of you guys, you fit in with your buds at school, and that's enough. Some of you guys fit in your family. That's enough. Some of you guys fit in some other place, in some other way, and that's enough.
It's never enough.
But for some of you guys, you're right. It isn't. Sometimes it's never enough. Okay? So here's the deal. At some point, God has designed you, sorry to be the one who has to tell this to you, to have your family no longer be enough. Designed you. You are built so that at some point, and everyone's going to hit this at a different age, built, you are designed so your family will not be enough to make you feel like you belong. Fitting in your family will not be enough. And in many of your cases, the reason this happens is because you stop feeling like you fit in with your family. When you were younger, you felt like, yeah, this is my family. It's where I belong. I belong here. And at some point, that will end for some of you guys, and you won't feel like you fit in with your family. And this is the deal. You're not broken in any way that everyone else isn't already broken. That's normal. God designs you during your teenage years to go through this patch where you start to feel a desire to break away from family and to do something that's your choice, where you pick it. It's yours. And a lot of people look at this and they go, oh, it's rebellion. We got to squash this. Teenagers are so evil. They rebel. What's wrong with them? Guys, that's not the way it is. God has chosen you to be men, to be leaders of families. And everyone's going to hit this at a different age where suddenly you start feeling like I need to be part of something else. And that is there so that you start practicing, you start learning, you start getting better at being in charge, being the leader, setting up something that is yours. And that is all good stuff if you use it. If you use it. If it uses you, if you let that run you, run the show, control you, that's how you go down the wrong road. That is how you end up in a place you don't want to be. If you trust in God during this time, though, and you let Him lead you down that path, eventually what ends up happening is you become a strong leader man. The guy who just takes control, runs the show, and you can do this in your own family after having practiced through your teenage years. And suddenly, when you start your family, you know how to be a leader. You know how to stand up and be in charge. You know what it means to run something where everybody else belongs with you, rather than you belonging somewhere somebody else is in charge. That's your job one day. One day you will be in charge of something. And it might be more than a family. One day you might be in charge of a family and a company. One day you might be in charge of a family and a church. One day you might be in charge of a family and a whole community of people. But that's going to be your job one day as men. That's what we are. That's what we do. We take charge.
You might be in charge of America.
Dude, it can happen, okay? Look at Kid President. He's on his way.
Almost
He's
there.
on his way, man. Oh, man, he's off the charts. So, trust me when I say that feeling like you don't belong in your teenage years is okay. You'll need to belong to something sooner or later, but if you go through a period in your teenage years where you don't feel like you belong, that's okay. But listen to me when I say this. You can always go back to God as the place where you belong, because there is nothing that will fulfill your needs as good as God does. Nothing. No family can fulfill your needs the way God does. No friend can fulfill your needs the way God does. No woman can fulfill your needs the way God does. You will never have a girlfriend. You will never have a wife that fulfills you the way God can fulfill you. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Ezra, you've been having your hand up for an age. What's up?
Are you broken if you haven't reached the point where your family is not?
No, trust me on this, okay? Family can last forever. You can go through your teenage years and never rebel against family. At some point, you're going to feel like you need to find more belonging, but in some cases, you never lost your sense of belonging with your family, and that's okay. That's okay. But for many of you guys, it will happen at some point where you feel like, I don't belong in my family, I belong elsewhere. It's okay. You just got to understand why it's there. It's to get you to be in a place where you can take charge, where you can take the reins. It's not because you should abandon your family and run away from them, okay? Feeling that way is normal. Doing it is still not a great idea. It can be really hard when you stop feeling like you belong in your family, but you guys still got to stay with your family. Don't abandon them. They need you just as much as you need them. Be a part of your family. I'm just letting you know, as a teenager, that feeling of I need to space myself from this, I need to go somewhere else, that's normal. That will happen as a teenager, but that doesn't mean you actually have to abandon your family. I'm just preparing you, like, those feelings will take place at some point. Maybe they already have. Maybe it'll be 10 years before it happens. But just, be ready for that. Look towards God in that time and don't abandon your family. What was yours?
I was going to say that if you're a teenager and you're going through that and you already know, like what you just said, once you, realize and try and fix that?
You can, but trust me on this. Trying to fix the way you feel is kind of a lost cause unless you involve God. Changing hearts is not something humans can do. And so if you're feeling like you need to space yourself and you're trying not to get too distant from your family, go to God in prayer. Daily go to God in prayer. Offer yourself up to Him and just say, God, I need your help in this. My heart is pulling me away from my family and I want to stay with my family. I don't want to be separated from them. I don't want to be distant from them and cold. I want to be able to talk to them. I want to be real with them. So God, help me with that. If you let God be in charge in those situations, it will go so much better. So much better. All right, so the other two needs you guys have is support. That's like standard stuff, just normal, natural stuff like food, shelter. But there's also an emotional level to that one too. And it's like knowing that people are there for you. You need that in life. And again, it kind of starts with your family. Your family will provide those things. You grow older and older. Eventually, you can start getting stuff for yourself, food and shelter and all that stuff. But like knowing that someone is there for you is not something you can ever do for yourself. You can't be there for yourself. People try. It doesn't work. So at some point, many of us are going to go for that girl. We want that girl to be part of our life, to always be there for us. And you know what? At a certain age, when you're mature enough, when you're ready, that's fantastic. But hear me on this. Even the wife that God has chosen for you, even the woman you are meant to be with, is still a human, and she's still going to make mistakes. So you need to have a sense of realism going into every relationship that this person, I can't put everything I've got in them. I can't rely on them 100% because at some point she will fail you. And then if she is where you put all your trust, all your hope, all your dreams, you're going to fall apart. Your relationship is going to fall apart. Everything's going to fall apart. But if you put God first in front, you put Him where all your hope is, all your trust is, you make sure He is who is supporting you first and foremost, and she's second, that's okay. When she fails, you can lean on God and you can forgive her. You can fix that relationship. You can restore that. But you got to make sure God is first in that position. And the last one is fellowship. That's that friendship and that fun. And honestly, most people who date in junior high, that's why they do it. They do it for the fun and the friendship, okay? But check me on this. Be honest for a second. Do you have to be dating someone to be friends with them? You all shake your heads like you know this. Guys, do you know how many junior high friends think they can't? They honestly think they can't be friends with a girl and hang out with her and hang out with all their other friends without making her their girlfriend. They honestly think that for some stupid reason. They act like they believe it, and then you ask them point blank and be like, no, I can just be friends with her. But they don't live it like that. They don't do that.
But that's also because of society.
Society's kind of programmed us, man. How many people honestly think that guys at school are cooler if they have a girlfriend?
Oh, yeah.
Guys, raise your hand now if you think a lot of people at school think a guy is cooler if he has a girlfriend. There's your problem right there, okay? This is the deal. It's a lie. It's a lie. How many junior high relationships last till marriage? I've heard of one.
What?
I have literally heard of one.
My parents did.
Really? They started in junior high?
Since 4th grade.
Oh, what?
4th grade.
Dude, they beat the odds. That is awesome. That is awesome. From what?
I mean, like, they met each other at,
First grade? That's awesome.
I mean, like, they met each other at,
First grade? That's awesome. That's awesome. I met Emily in junior high, but we didn't start dating in junior high, okay? We waited until we were both out of college before we started dating.
They were dating in 4th grade. The 4th grade definition of dating. And it just kind of lasted.
Well, this is the deal. This is the deal. If you treat dating like it's a joke, it'll be a
That's
joke.
exactly what it's going to be.
It's going to be a joke. Honestly, you know what? Sometimes you beat the odds. Sometimes you start dating in 4th grade and it works all the way out till marriage, and that's great if it happens.
That's pretty rare.
But that's super duper rare. Super duper rare. All right, guys, skip to the last page with me. We got to get done. The little rocket ship there. There's your example. There's your word picture. Okay, just memorize this one. If you had to choose between a rocket ship built by NASA that could fly to the moon, or trying to get to the moon, and a rocket ship built by some crazy people who live out in the desert, that is literally a picture of what that is. That is a rocket built by crazy people out in a desert. Okay, that's actually what that's a picture of. You have to choose. Which one are you gonna pick? Which one would you pick?
Crazy people.
Hey, here's the deal. You can pick the crazy people. You can follow the world's advice on dating. You really can. But it will blow up in your face. It really will.
Wait, what are we picking?
Between a rocket ship made by NASA and a rocket ship made by crazy people in a desert.
Wait, but what? But what?
Hey, you know what? Crazy people in a desert can be fun. But that won't get you to the moon.
How do you
It'll
know
get you
that,
killed.
though?
It gets killed. Because I know what happened to that rocket. It blew up.
But it looks really cool and
But it was actually built.
But what's those crazy people
then
learn?
NASA.
Yeah,
All right,
trial
guys.
by fire.
Here's your homework, okay? Go to page 5. Go to page 5. Homework and we're out of here, okay? I'm giving you homework. Dude, this is like homework where if you get an F, it could ruin your life. You get an A, you could have a sweet marriage one day. Isn't that
Do
cool?
we put like one cup?
All right, guys, so here's the deal.
happiness?
Page 5, here's what you do. Read it, do it. I'll give you the short version. List what you want in a wife one day. But here's the deal. You can't do it until you read the Bible verse on the page. Because the Bible verse on this page tells you what true love is. And you don't have to copy down what the Bible verse says. I don't want some Sunday school made up answer. I want something you believe in. And then I want you to keep this, lock it up somewhere so you can have it till you start dating. And look at this list and be real honest with yourself. If the girl you want to date actually has these things. And here's my test, okay? If you can't look at the list you made of what you want in a wife, you can't look at that list and go, I know whether or not this is the case. Don't start dating her yet. Be friends until you know for sure.
Oh my.
Be friends until you know for sure whether or not she is what your list is. Because if you have a goal for a wife and you don't know whether she's fit in that list and you just start dating, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Taking an odd chance.
You're taking a chance. You're gambling. You're gambling. Just be friends with her. And if she can't fit that list, that's fine. Stay friends with her. She's an okay friend to have. But you should not start down that road to marriage until you know. Is she actually someone I want to be married to? Be real sure. This is the other test, guys. There's 2 tests here. Check with your parents. They know more about marriage than you will. Guaranteed 100% of the time. Even if they learned the hard way, they still know. They still know. Even if you look at your parents' marriage and you're like, I don't want a marriage like that. That's okay. They've learned stuff the hard way. And they'll know. So when you go looking for a girlfriend, check with your parents. I can't stress that enough. Even parents who've had a rocky dating history, even parents who've had a rocky marriage, they still know what to look out for. They know what pitfalls you should avoid. If you don't trust your parents, and that's your choice, I think you should trust your parents. But if you don't, come check with me. Check with someone who has an awesome marriage. Check with someone who you think you can trust. Check with your grandparents for all I care. But don't think that you, at whatever age you're at, not having been married, knows what you should be looking for in marriage. You don't. You don't. You haven't been there. Okay? Check with people who know. Check with people who are wise. Heck, save this whole sheet. Go back and read those Bible verses. God knows what you should be looking for. Check Proverbs 31. All right. Last hand, and then we really got to get out of here. Go.
Isn't the point of dating to find out if that person has the qualities that should be?
No, it's to find out if you were right or wrong. You should know before you start dating. You should know before you start dating. Because here's the deal. Here's the deal. When you start dating a person, this is what you are saying with your actions. I want to marry you.
Yeah.
You're saying with your actions, I want to marry you. And if you don't know yet, That's kind of like buying a car before finding out if you want to buy a car.
What?
You go to the lot and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna, fill out the paperwork for the loan. We'll see if it goes through.
Wait.
You gotta find out if it's a good car first. Okay,
Carfax,
so
dude.
so the test drive, that's friendship. That's not dating.
That's the car box.
The test drive is friendship. If dating's the test drive, dating's already a commitment.
What?
Dating's already a commitment. Okay? You've already made a commitment. It's not a commitment to marriage, it's just a commitment. And this is the deal. If you find out you don't want to date them, and then you don't date them, did you break their heart?
No.
Well, you still got a friend! That's
Possibly.
awesome! Plus, if you start dating with the idea, and you talk about it with her, that the reason we're dating is so that we can see if marriage will work between us, then when you figure out marriage will not work between you, it's not some big, huge surprise when you say, I have to break up with you. They're going to get it. They're going to understand. It's not going to break their heart near as much if they know the reasons why in advance. That this is a trial run to see how marriage might work for us. But you should already know if they're marriageable. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Wait.
Don't go buy a junker and test drive it if it looks like a junker. You know if they have the qualities of a wife. You should know that in advance. You do that with friendship. You do that with friendship. Honestly, Emily and I was hugely crushing on her in junior high, and I always wanted to date her. But by the time I was in college, I was smart enough to know I had to look for qualities and be her friend before we started dating. So I did. I didn't know that in junior high. I was stupid in junior high. But because I waited until I was in college, I got to the point where I was wise enough to know I got to be her friend for a while and see who she is. Then we started dating after that. It worked out amazingly well because we were friends before we started dating.
So you
Amazingly
didn't
well.
have any bias.
I didn't have a bias. I knew exactly what kind of person she was. Dude, when you're dating, you are so Twitter-pated, fluttery in love, you can't make an honest judgment. You can't make an honest judgment about whether or not they are going to be a good wife, going to be a good mother for your children. You can't make that judgment because you're blinded by, oh my gosh, I love her so much. Once you're dating, man, romance just starts flooding your system, and true judgment calls are next to impossible. Friendship, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to make that judgment call. All right, guys, we ran over. I'm sorry. We got to pray. If you have more questions, check and see if your parents say you can stay longer. Ask me questions. Ask my leaders questions. Hey, you know what would be fun?